Hello, everybody. My name is Aman Bishi, and I am the Senior Education USA Advisor at the Lahore office. Thank you for joining us for today's session. I'm just going to briefly give you guys an introduction about USCFP and Education USA, and then I'm just going to hand it over to Jay so he can talk more about Louisiana Tech. So what is USCFP? Education USA has advising centers in all three cities, the three main cities, Lahore, Karachi, and Islamabad. So if you have any friends and family who want to go to the US, want to learn more about how to get to the US, whether it's for their undergrad, grad, or a PhD, we would be more than happy to assist you guys. We also have the Prometric Testing Center, which conducts GRE exams, GMAT. We conduct more than 150 different exams, including TOEFL and the Microsoft exams and a bunch of others, the USMLE, etc. Then, of course, we have the Fulbright Scholarship, which is our flagship scholarship, where we send students on a fully funded scholarship to the US for their master's and PhD. And we also have a UGrad program, which is a semester exchange program. You have to be in your second and third year of your bachelor's in Pakistan to be eligible for that. All right, so what is Education USA? We are part of the US State Department. Our job is to provide you accurate, correct, and comprehensive information. And advisors such as myself, our job is to sit down with an advisee, a student such as yourself, so we can figure out what the best fit university for you would be. Like, say, for example, you want to be close to a family member who might live in a specific city in the US. So we would advise you to find a university or a college near to that zip code. So that's how essentially we figure out how the best fit university is. There's different sessions that we do, such as this one today. Most of the sessions that we conduct are free of cost. We do different workshops. We do GRE workshops, SAT, TOEFL. We have libraries in all three of our centers in Lahore, Karachi, and Islamabad. So if you guys ever want to come in and learn any information from the books that we have, you're more than welcome to come. We have internet here as well. And if you want, we can also conduct different practice exams. And then, of course, we have the one-on-one advising, where advisors such as myself or my colleague Natalia or Noor are going to sit down with you to figure out what your best fit university would be. All right, I'm just going to hand it over to Jay now. Over to you, Jay. I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Sure. Hey, Aman,
And
it looks like
Yep.
Sheik in the chat is saying there's an audio issue. Sheik, I'm not sure if that's improved, but let us know, my man. We'll be happy to help.
Is anybody else having any audio issues? Natalia, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. He's saying it's okay now.
Okay. Great, wonderful. But yeah, we have one of those Pakistani Fulbrights right now doing their PhD in industrial organizational psychology, and so yeah, it's really cool. My name's Jay Ligon. I'll jump in. I'll share my screen, but I probably talk more than I focus on this, so I apologize for that. Let me just get this at the beginning. So I'm with Louisiana Tech University, and we've been coming to Pakistan, I think, pre-COVID. I've been going twice a year as soon as COVID let up in 2022. And when I went, I really didn't know what to expect. It was really a phenomenal place. I met a lot of very generous and warm people that were very kind and helpful. I tasted some amazing food, Aman. You guys have some great food there. The lamb tikka particularly is pretty phenomenal. And you know, I started to really enjoy that. And then the thing that really made it 100% for me is that we got our first Pakistani student, and that student became a leader on campus, and we'll talk about him actually a little bit later. But it's just been a phenomenal ride. Right now, we have 70 applications from Pakistan for the fall. So clearly, you know, it has been an ascent ever since. Now I'm going to kind of jump through this and see. So I think probably the first thing I should explain is that we are on what's called a quarter system, right? So you're probably used to semesters where you have fall, spring, and summer. We squeeze another section in there called winter. And so that's what turns it into quarters. So we have 4: fall, winter, spring, and summer. It's a nice plus because you have shortened sessions, right? So 10 to 12 weeks, I think, is about average. You're able to really get in, you take fewer classes at a time, so you're able to really concentrate. And if you miss the fall start for whatever reason, you're actually able to start in the winter, which is really nice. So that's a good plus. I really, really like that. You might notice down at the holidays, we have a holiday that you may be unfamiliar with, which is Mardi Gras. So Mardi Gras for Louisiana, we have this culture where we have a gigantic party down in the South. It's a big cultural experience. A lot of students love it. And so we actually closed the university for that. So let's see. So I would have to say probably what resonates the most with a lot of students is our belief that everyone should be able to afford an American education. So many universities that I travel with are just escalating price up and up and up. Now, the scholarships look really good. If you have a university is charging $70,000 a year and they offer a $30,000 scholarship, wow, that's a big scholarship, but you're still out $40,000. And so I've really been pushing this with my university. They have jumped on board, and I'm really excited to say that I think we're doing a really good job of making it possible for students to afford studying in the U.S. And so what that looks like for us is for undergraduate students, a student without a scholarship would be paying around $21,000 for tuition, right? And that's a lot of money. I don't care where you're coming from. That's a lot of money. But the thing is that about 75% of all of our international undergraduates are in scholarship, and they're only paying around $10,000 a year. $10,000 a year to be able to study the kind of programs that we have, which we'll dive into in a minute. I think it's a game changer. It's a kind of thing where it's not just going to improve your life. You're going to be able to graduate, make really good money, and start sending that back home to mom and dad, and they're going to love it. Just to give you an example, let's say you study computer science here, right? You pay $10,000 a year for tuition. That $10,000 a year for 4 years is $40,000. Now, if you graduate studying STEM in the United States, you're able to work in the US legally for 3 years on OPT and STEM OPT. Now, average starting salary for a computer science major, you're looking around $75,000 a year. Okay. It doesn't take a lot of math to realize that you've paid for your entire degree in your first year. And that means everything you're making after that, you're just, you're either saving it for your master's degree, you're either pushing it towards sending money back home. Lots of good opportunities. And that's something we're really proud of. Something that really motivates us here. If I'm missing anything or someone doesn't hear whatever, Aman, feel free to jump on. I think you just texted me something, but I'm not able to really read in the middle of the presentation. So I don't mind the interruption, my friend.
Okay.
So
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I just wanted to say that if anybody has any questions, feel free to put them in the Q&A. I think I forgot to mention that during my slides. So I just wanted to put that out there. Thank you. Over to you.
Yeah. Appreciate you, Aman. So the thing is that if you come to Louisiana Tech, it doesn't, in the name is tech, right? So we are a STEM school. So we're talking engineering, computer science, and we're going to dive into what that looks like right now. And that is by far our most popular college with international students. And so this is the new College of Engineering and Science. It's a beautiful building. It was done just a couple of years ago. And you can see here hanging from the ceiling is a car called the Eco Car, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. And the canoe that's hanging up there is a concrete canoe. So we do a concrete canoe contest where we make canoes out of concrete and then test their ability to float and actually win in a race. Just really cool stuff. The labs are gorgeous in this building. It is where you want to be, I can guarantee you. one of the things that when you talk about Louisiana Tech and even in colleges outside of engineering science, we'll talk about here in a minute as well, everything's going to be really hands-on. We are the school that's going to put you in a lab in your first day. As long as you have the qualifying maths, we're going to put you in, you're going to start building things day one. We have a student that worked at Intel, and he came back to visit during campus. And I asked him, I was like, how did you compare to other students from other universities that graduated and came into Intel? And he was like, he told me it was night and day, because what he was able to do and from Louisiana Tech is solve problems. He was able to get in, able to build things, able to dissect them, look at them from different perspectives. Whereas a lot of the other schools, they were heavy on the theory. And so they could think about very complicated things, but they had a really hard time bringing it to fruition. And that's what a company wants. They want to be able to bring that out, make that product or that development happen. And he said that his education in Louisiana Tech was just really just blowing everyone else away. And that's the kind of thing we want to see. And you'll see that as this presentation goes on, just this kind of hands-on education. So on your first day, if you're an engineering student, your very first day, you're going to walk into a class, and that is, of course, if you have the necessary mathematics. If you're not in pre-calculus, and the best way to qualify for that is to get a 610 on the SAT. If you don't have that, we have other ways that we can try to help you skip as many of the preliminary maths as possible. But if you're able to walk into this freshman engineering class, being placed into pre-calculus, on day one, your teacher's going to walk in and say, we're going to build a robotic car. And that teacher's going to walk away, right? And this class is going to be composed of all first-year engineering students. Now, it'll be all kinds of different engineering students, biomed, electrical, civil, mechanical, and you're all sitting there trying to figure out what to do, and eventually you realize the professor's not going to spoon feed it to you. This is not high school. Like, you come in, you start building, let's go, 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 go. And that's the way we do things at Louisiana Tech. And someone will start coming up with an idea. And next thing you know, it starts to actually kind of like, hey, maybe this might be at least a good first step. As small as that first step might be. And the professor is going to be walking around, and he'll see that, and he'll say, I like this. Can you explain to me what you're doing? And you'll try to explain to the professor, and he'll say, I love that. And then he or she will then go to the front of the class, open up a PowerPoint, and at that point, we'll explain the theory behind what you did. So see, we flip it, right? It's practice before theory. We do it, and then we try to understand why it works. That's why we're really known for building things, breaking them, and then building them again. Because we're constantly exploring, trying to figure out what's going on. And it's a great system. The first year of living with the lab, you have 3 classes because of that quarter system. So fall, you build a robotic car. Winter, you're building a water pump. And then your third quarter of your freshman year, that's your spring quarter, you actually have to come up with your own invention. And then they even have a design function where all the students from that first year will show their different developments, their inventions. It's a really cool thing. Now, computer science students, you have something very similar where you're giving a Raspberry Pi, and in that first quarter, you're going to be building algorithms. Second quarter, you're actually playing with sensors. So like being able to say, like, you take a piece of paper, right? And you're putting sensors on it so that you can actually play that piece of paper like a piano, right? And that's in your second quarter. That's in your winter quarter of your first year. I mean, we get in and we hit the ground running. So these are a couple of pictures from that Living with the Lab, that freshman year program. So this is here where they're working on their water pump, right? We have the building I showed you, right? I can go back up here real fast. The building I showed you, that is beautiful, but we've been around since 1894, right? So we have lots of buildings on campus, and we have this one building called Bogard that has amazing kind of massive laboratories that we've just accumulated, I mean, shoot, over a century. And so you'll have gigantic welding rooms and things like that. It's just phenomenal. And so here's one of the students in that Living with the Lab. You can see that he's working on that robotic car right here. This is the kind of work that you'll go into the engineering building, and you'll see people there at 3 in the morning, you know, working on wires, building their circuitry, and it's just a really cool thing. And so this is in one of those older buildings that we have, you know, where we're actually in there, we're welding, we're doing things. It's a very cool university, and the fact that we have all of these amazing, you know, just labs around campus. And so this is, if you remember the car that was hanging up from the roof, that's the eco car. This is the eco car lab. And what they're doing, you can look at this car and realize this is something very different. These tires are so thin. The car up here does not look like a car you're used to doing. And the reason why is because the eco cars sponsored by Royal Dutch Shell. And what they do is they want to see how many miles a car can go on a gallon of gasoline, right? And so this is all about energy efficiency. And so we set a pretty massive award here with this eco car here that went 646 miles on 1 gallon of gasoline. Right? Now I'm going to break that down for you if you can't convert that in your head, but that's insane. And this was built totally by undergraduate students. And so if you look at this, if you're saying what is 646.7 miles, that is 1,040 kilometers on 4 liters of gasoline, right? That's amazing. That is such an accomplishment. And it's just so cool to know that it was done by undergrads. And so if you're thinking, hey, I might want to look at this College of Engineering and Science, these are some of the majors that we have in that college, right? Whether you're talking about construction engineering technology, right? And I will give you a hint, anytime you see the word technology in one of our programs, it's going to be less math heavy. So if you like building things, but you're not strong in the maths, those technology programs might be a good way to go. But yeah, lots going on here, lots of really good stuff here. You know, and we just have more. You've already seen that top row, but this bottom row here, instrumentation and control systems engineering. You're going to be doing things like more like maybe towards robotics and stuff like that. Mechanical engineering is going to be that eco car. Industrial engineering is going to be designing better products. Electrical engineering, I think, is fairly straightforward. And physics. Now, physics is a pretty neat program for us. We go all the way up to the PhD in physics, but the PhD in physics for us is physics engineering. And what that means is you're going to be building devices to be doing physics on. And so things like, you know, creating something similar to maybe like an MRI or something like that. In fact, we have a master's program called Applied Physics. And a lot of times what they're working on is medical physics. And actually you can get a concentration in medical physics at the undergraduate level. And those students have something really interesting where they're actually going to the hospital every Friday to work on their MRI machines. It's really, really a neat program. Again, just very hands-on, you know, that's how we do it. Now, you know, when we talk about engineering, a lot of times we think about building things with machines or whatever. I really want to highlight our biomedical engineering program because this is going to be where if someone has like a seizure, right? We want to be able to put something, chip in their brain so that they can, so that we can trigger them or monitor them and make sure that we can shut down that seizure by sending in signals to their brain. Phenomenal stuff. And these biomedical students are just doing really cool stuff. One of our international ambassadors, which I'll talk about a little bit as well, Ria is graduating in a biomedical engineering undergraduate, and she's being asked to stay and do research all summer with the professor. Really great opportunity. She went to San Francisco to present a paper. You know, this is all as an undergrad. And we're really big on undergraduate research. We have undergraduate research symposiums. So if you're the kind of person who wants to dive in and do the work, you'll have opportunities to really shine. So this is something for our computer science students. I just had to show this. And I think I have 2 pictures of it from different years. This is what we call Cyberstorm. It's basically a hackathon. And in our hackathons, this is an event for all sophomore computer science students. So remember that first year, right? You're building a piano out of a piece of paper. Second year, you're in a hackathon, right? You're diving in, doing fun stuff. And by the way, I'll just go ahead and mention, because I was thinking about it, if you're interested in AI, we have a machine learning student association. We have an AI class in the computer science program, and we actually have a professor, Dr. Choi, who has an AI and robotics lab called ARM. So lots of cool stuff going on there. And again, all of this for like $10,000 to $11,000 a year. It's something I'm really proud of. Now, in this hackathon, you have three teams, right? One team that's attacking, another team that's defending, and the third team that's trying to destroy everybody, basically breaking all the rules. It's a huge hit with our students. They just absolutely love it. This is from an earlier year. Now let's move into different things. So we have two campuses. We have a North Campus and a South Campus. South Campus is where all our agriculture, forestry, and veterinarian sciences are. And I just kind of wanted to dive into there because it doesn't get the highlight it really needs. Whether you're in our agriculture program, working in our greenhouses, or dietetics and nutrition, or the forestry program. These are all programs that happen on our south side of campus. And we actually have, stables and everything on our south campus. So you're actually coming in and working with the animals that we have. So that before you go to veterinarian school in the US, you've got the skills, you know how to do this. And our our pre-vets are getting accepted into really competitive veterinarian schools. So I just really want to hone in on that because I think there's a lot of future in agribusiness, agri-science, some very neat things there. So let's jump into applied natural science. This is our biological science program. So our biology program does not have a PhD program, which means that a lot of undergraduates get a big research opportunity there. So I really think that if you're looking for biology, realize that coming to a school like Louisiana Tech is going to get you in the labs, working with professors that might normally be doing that with PhD students. We have a lot of strengths when it comes to our applied natural science. One thing you might want to talk about, if you're interested in medical, of course, many students want to do pre-med, but one thing we have that's really neat is medical technology. And medical technology is where you're working in a laboratory in a hospital and you're running tests on blood and stuff like this. There is a shortage of med techs in the US. So we are looking for those in major ways. And so students that graduate from our program, for one, you have a 1-year internship at a hospital. It's a 4-year degree bachelor's, right? So versus our 2-year nursing program. So it's a 4-year bachelor's program. So you've got all these great classes that you're taking, working in laboratories, and then you go and do a full 1-year internship at a hospital. When you graduate, you are so desired to go to work at a hospital. And guess what? You can do that for 3 years. Save that money, build up that experience, and then use that money you saved for medical school. I think it's a really attractive strategy that doesn't get nearly the attention it deserves. So this is our nursing lab. We have our nursing students in here that get to practice on all kinds of equipment. Let's switch over to College of Business. Again, I'm really honing in on the hands-on part. So when we talk about business, we have accounting, we have finance, we have engineering, marketing, a number of things. But this is a really interesting one. This is our trading room. So in our trading room, students in finance classes can come in and actually practice. She's looking at a stock of Apple here. But we have what's called a student managed investment fund. And if you're the kind of person who likes the business side of things, you actually manage $1 million of real money, and you are able to invest it into different things for the university. So this is money that was donated by a number of our business grads, our business alumni. They wanted the students to be able to practice investing. And so you actually are managing this money for the university foundation. Now, of course, you have professors like Dean Martin here who are going to advise you so that you don't totally lose it all. But it's really cool. It's a great opportunity for anyone that wants to go into the finance world. Shifting over to liberal arts, and sticking with our hands-on theme here. This is our music production program here. Really amazing stuff. Great equipment, recording studios, all that. This is when you're talking about designing, right? Whether if you think you're more in the arts, Even those students are able to learn how to design furniture with computer programs and things like that. We're just a very tech school, no matter how you do it. Even if you studied something like technical writing, which someone might think was using the best verb in the right sentence or something like that. Our technical writing program is wondering, how do I give someone instructions on fixing a flat tire on the side of the road in the night? And so, yeah, we're going to write all that out, but we're going to put it on a device that lights up at the night so you can actually read it, right? And see what you're doing as you fix it. So that's what it's like here at Louisiana Tech. Even when you're not doing the straightforward STEM stuff, you're getting that a little bit everywhere, right? Our architecture program is phenomenal. It's a 4+1. So that means you do a 4-year bachelor's and then a 1-year master's program. Our professional aviation program, we have, I think, about 5 flight simulators on campus, and guess what? We have our own airport. So, I mean, branded planes, all this, again, for $10,000 a year. It just really makes everything work out well for the students. Now, student life and campus, it's beautiful. I mean, like, it's a state school, but it feels like a private college. I'm a teacher. I teach international marketing here. I know students by name. You walk around campus, it's gorgeous. It's just really, really nice place to be. Now, I'll tell you something interesting. So our university, I mentioned, is here from 1894. If you look down here at this walkway that the student is walking on, I want you to get a glimpse of those bricks there, right? You can see this is that walkway. It extends here, right? On those bricks are names of every alumni of Louisiana Tech. So that means that on Louisiana Tech's campus, you can go all the way back to 1894, and our first graduating class was 1897. You can see the name of the one student that graduated in 1897, and you can see every graduate after that. It's a beautiful thing. And guess what? When you come to Louisiana Tech, you too will be put on this walk of the bricks, right? And so this goes all around campus. It's a massive investment of our university, but we believe that what the students did shapes our university, and so we want your name there forever. And so what results in this is that you'll have students that studied, like my mom graduated from Louisiana Tech. I've graduated from Louisiana Tech. We'll go look around for our bricks. All right, there we are. And so people come back to campus. They want to see that. It builds great memories. It's a really magical thing that Louisiana Tech does, and gives, I think, students a real sense of kind of ownership. Like, yeah, this is where I belong, and it makes me really proud that we do that. So yeah, and like I said, I mean, the clock here, right? You'll become immortal, right? When you get the break on the walk, right? You'll be there forever. So I want to talk a little bit about student life. So this is our International Affairs office. Our office is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, right? This was during the World Cup. And so you can just see the students were just real. I mean, there's some students praying, others leaning into others, just begging for a win. It's a great time. But this office or this lobby is open 24 hours a day. International students say that it feels like their second home. There's a table over there you might be able to see to the left with some laptops, and these students are there studying, and they'll do that throughout the year. They'll come in, we have a TV that they're watching the World Cup on. We have a karaoke machine. Sometimes they'll put on YouTube and start singing with the karaoke machine. And that happens throughout the day while we're working here and in the evening. We want this to be a second home for students that are so far away from their family. Now, also in our office, we have an open door policy. So every person leaves their door open throughout the day so that you know that you're welcome to come in. Access is important to us. And so every student that gets admitted and gets an I-20 is invited to join a WhatsApp group for that quarter in which they're going to join. So right now we have our fall WhatsApp group. If you've been admitted and have your I-20, you're invited to join that, and you can ask us questions about the visa process or anything like that. You can meet other students coming in and ask them, hey, how do I go about doing this or that? And it's a great opportunity. I think access is a big deal for us. We want students to know that they're able to be comfortable here, that they can ask us anything they want, and we want to see them succeed as a result. Now, every year we have a number of international events. This is from our International Scholarship Dinner. And so our International Scholarship Dinner is where you'll see students that do, international dance, or, we have students that will do a fashion show, or students that will play music. And there's food. There's lots of food, right? Really good food. And about 500 people come, ticket paying people come to see this every year. Our international students are such rock stars. And I don't say that solely because he's playing guitar here. I mean, people here are very interested in you. They want to get to know you. They want to welcome you. And so here's Arslan Imran, right? Arslan Imran is the person who put this together. And he is from Pakistan. He was our first Pakistani student from our work with USEF Pakistan. And he was the MC of this event. Arslan, when he came here, he immediately became a leader on campus. I hired him instantaneously just because he was so charismatic. And he was he just impressed us so much. And then we realized when we got our second Pakistani student, he did the same thing. And that's what got us hooked. We're like, these are campus leaders, student leaders. We need more Pakistani students. And that's why we've been coming back every year and now going twice a year. But since we weren't able to make it last year, we really wanted to be able to join you in this webinar and introduce Louisiana Tech, and hopefully, get you interested in what we have to offer. So let's talk about funding. So Bulldog Scholarship, right? So you can see there the tuition and fees. Without the Bulldog Scholarship, $21,000 drops to $10,800 or $11,000 with the scholarship. Now, the other items, living expenses, this is based on living on campus. So if you're not going to live on campus, good news, this number can be much lower. For instance, I used to have a 2-bedroom apartment right next to campus. I paid $450 a month for that 2-bedroom, right? So if I was a student, what I would do is I'd get that apartment. I would say, let's push our desk into the living room. Let's put 2 people in each room. Now I'm sharing $450 rent with 4 people, right? I'm paying what, $115 a month, a little less than that, right? I mean, yeah, that's amazing, right? And so that sort of savings is really possible. And you can live off campus. We have an off-campus waiver form that has never been denied to an international student, because we know that you might have different dietary reasons, different cultural reasons, different religious reasons that you want to live off campus, and we want you to be comfortable. So that's something we can certainly do. Now, if you want to live on campus, it is a great experience. It's a whole lot of fun. But then that amount is pretty fixed. It's not really going to fluctuate for you. That books and insurance, the insurance costs about $300 a quarter, $350, something like that. So that's about $1,000 a year on insurance. The other $1,350, that's what we're estimating for books. So there are certainly ways that you can really save on that as well. In essence, you really can be the person in charge of the amount you're spending on your living expenses and on your books. So I hope this is showing that we do clearly want to make this affordable to everyone so that you can have these great experiences, pursue these great programs and everything. Now, I'm not even going to tell you how to get admitted. I'm going to tell you how to get admitted with scholarship, because that's really what everyone wants, right? So you'll send us your transcripts. We will assess that. And if we get a 2.5 GPA or higher, check. Next thing is we're going to need an admissions test. Now, that could be a TOEFL, IELTS, Duolingo, right? But the scholarship requires an admissions test. I can generally admit you without that if you have a 3.0 GPA, but I can't give you scholarship without that. So you would need one of these tests here. The Duolingo, I think, is the most convenient. It's about $49. You take it online. So certainly more convenient than trying to sit for a SAT. But the SAT will really help you, again, if you're going to study engineering or computer science, because you want to get into that pre-calculus class so you can start those classes right off. You don't want to waste time and money taking math classes that you really could have tested out of. Now, after that, we need to somewhere or another prove that we can place you in at least the lowest level English and math classes. And so here, if you have a 3.0 GPA, check. 3.0 GPA check. But you'll notice that these tests really just duplicate the admissions test. So it's basically like, let's say someone got an 1130 on the SAT, but they got a 450 on English. Well, that would concern us, right? Are they going to be able to really succeed in our freshman English class? And so at that point, we might reach out and say, hey, maybe you should take the Duolingo test. And if you can get that Duolingo test to 105, guess what? You still got the scholarship. Right? So anyway, and now I will say this 3.0, if you have a cumulative 3.0, there is a question in your application that says, did you study at an English language high school? If you mark yes, we will assess that 3.0. If you do not mark yes, then we will require a TOEFL, IELTS, or Duolingo. Just because you might have made a 3.0, but if you're speaking Urdu in your school all day long, and that's how the classes are taught, you're not going to be really set up for success. So we want to make sure that you will do well here. Now, if you're doing an international graduate program, those are really popular for us with our Pakistani students. They are going to want that TOEFL, IELTS, or Duolingo. They're really looking for a GRE. I would say a 303 on the GRE is pretty much, that's going to get you in. And your GPA, you're really wanting something close to a 3.0. Now, officially, they will accept lower GPAs, but when it gets to the college review section, I think a lot of professors are going to say, yeah, but I've got this other student that I really want. And so, yeah. Now, the thing is, when you talk about costs for the graduate, let me make sure. Yeah, okay. We'll talk about costs. So we talk about costs for our graduate students. Cost for them for 1 year is $12,000 for tuition. Now, if you get an assistantship, and most of our co-S programs offer an assistantship immediately for our master's students, it's going to drop to $7,500 a year. Now, with our PhDs, if you're doing something like our student here, that's working on grant research. And I just want to talk to you about this. This is really cool. So this is Bappy, one of our PhD students, and his doctoral research is actually going towards NASA. He is looking at how to make life habitable on Mars and on moons. And his work was so successful that NASA has now taken that research and is putting it to practice. It's phenomenal what he's done. But this is the kind of thing at a graduate level, what you can really do at a tech school. And there's, this linking to a video. I'm not going to play it here because videos tend to not work well on Zoom, but it's just very interesting what this guy did. And this is just what happened this year, right? This fall. So when you talk about the kind of things that you can do, it's really phenomenal. Whether that's working to cure brain cancer, in the biomedical engineering program, or whether it's working to create a car that can go 646 miles on 1 gallon of gasoline. There's so many great ways that you can really do something. Now, every time, anytime someone applies, you will be introduced to an international ambassador. International ambassadors are international students where you'll be able to connect with on WhatsApp. We use WhatsApp a lot, right? So I know most universities, they want you to send some email. We use WhatsApp all the time. Now, you will email your documents, but when you want to ask a simple question, being able to WhatsApp us really makes things convenient. And again, we also have those WhatsApp groups for all the students coming into one quarter, so you can start to meet each other. That's, again, going back to that access that's so important to us. Now, so I think, yeah, that's the last slide, right? That's me. So I'm Jay Ligon. I'm the Director of International Affairs at Louisiana Tech. That's my WhatsApp number. I just ask you, be aware of the time difference, right, in Pakistan and here. So I always ask students to text me, don't call, because when you are awake, I'm asleep and my wife will kill me. And you probably don't want that to happen. So just shoot me a text on WhatsApp. I'll get back to you. And also texts are very helpful because I can keep a thread of our conversation. So if I have questions and need to go back to, what did we talk about? I'll know exactly what that was. So Aman, that's my presentation, my man. That's Louisiana Tech in a nutshell. Should I stop sharing the screen? Do we have any questions in the chat? How do we move forward?
Yeah, so far we have 3 questions. All right. So I think this was already answered, but I'll just say it anyways. How much is GRE required for grad studies?
Yeah, yeah. So GRE is going to be required. Now, for some programs, they will waive it. So, for instance, College of Business will occasionally waive it. GMAT, if you have, I think, a 3.25 GPA. I've heard of many of the engineering programs waiving a GRE if your GPA is high enough, but computer science will not. Computer science is by far our most favorite, our most popular major, and so the competition to get into that program is becoming more and more, and so they do want that GRE. And also, we have a master's program for engineering, management, and technology, and they also require a GRE.
Nice. All right, we just have a new question come in. I have a 2.75 CGPA. Would I be eligible to get the admission for a
For
graduate program?
undergraduate or graduate?
Graduate program?
Yeah. So I think that because our published GPA requirements are lower than the 3.0, I think that I would definitely apply. But I would also be aware of the fact that, you know, if it's a very competitive time of year, say in our fall, you might get pushed back for students with higher GPA. I will say that funding for grad students is the highest in the fall. That's generally when everyone's got fresh budgets that they want to work out of. And so coming in the fall certainly has its benefits. But coming in the spring or coming in the winter, even the winter is definitely the slowest intake. That might be where someone with a lower GPA might be able to really find a spot that they'd be willing to look at.
All right. So we have two questions regarding the PTE exam, the Peterson Test of English. Is that something that you guys accept?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we are working to get that approved, but at the moment it is not. Now for grad school, it is approved. It's not approved for undergrad. I should have been more clear. So we are a public state school, and so there's something called the Board of Regents that manages all of our admissions processes and policies. And so we are trying to get the Board of Regents to hear us saying, hey, we need to do PTE. It's becoming more and more popular. And so we're working on that, but we haven't seen any progress in that yet. But grad school, yes, PTE is acceptable.
All right. And we have a lot of non-tech questions also.
Sure, yeah, go for it.
All right. MBA programs. Do you have any MBA programs?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I thought that was the beginning of a question.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, that's the question.
Yeah, sure. Now, our MBAs are not STEM based, and that's one of the things that international students want to ask right up front. So they're not STEM based. They are, you know, it's generally 1.5 to 2 years, you know, on campus. We do have online MBAs as well. So if the student wanted to get an MBA from us and do it in Pakistan, that's totally possible. But yeah, but the MBA is not a STEM based. Now we do also have DBA, and sorry, the DBA just changed to a PhD. My apologies, that happened this year. So I want to explain why I'm talking about the PhD in business. MBAs are there's no funding available right now. I will add to that we have been voted by U.S. News and World Report as having the #1 most affordable MBA in the United States. You know, what was it? I think $12,000 a year for an MBA is pretty remarkable. Now, if a student is sitting there thinking, I know that's affordable, relatively speaking, but it's not affordable to me, one option is to look at the PhD. And the PhD in business does have funding. I think it's about $15,000 a year stipend that you get. I think you will end up paying $7,500 per quarter. But notice that you know, it doesn't cover everything. And so you end up owing the university more money than you actually make, but it is less money than you would have paid for the MBA. The thing is that you need to ask yourself, what do I have? Do I have more funds available or more time? The benefit of doing the PhD in business is, you know, if you do apply for a professorship at a university, They generally can really help you with the visa process and all that. I know in our office, we have a person dedicated to doing H-1Bs and all that. So professors can certainly get a lot of assistance there from offices like ours. And the starting salary is like $145,000 if you're, teaching business. So I mean, it's really a great opportunity. But a lot of students really want to get that MBA, get into the real world, and start working hard. So it really just depends on what's the best fit.
Makes sense. So for the MBA program, do you require any work experience?
Did you say for MBA?
Yeah, for the MBA.
Yeah. So for work experience, no, not really. In fact, I applied for the MBA, and there is a place where you can write a kind of a personal statement, and you could mention it there, but it's not the kind of thing that they're looking for. In fact, a lot of our MBAs are concurrent, meaning that while you're doing your bachelor's in business, if your GPA is high enough, during your final year, you can actually start your MBA. So you're doing your MBA and your bachelor's at the same time. And then you're only really dealing with one final year of MBA after graduating with your bachelor's. So, we don't have a lot of professional workers in the MBA program. Now we do have an EMBA, which is an executive MBA, but I don't think that's really, for the international market.
Okay, that makes sense. And is the EMBA versus the in-person MBA, is there like a price difference, or would it be the same?
So the online MBA, I believe you might be able to get that with the in-state tuition, which means that might go down to $7,500 a year. Also, if you do part-time classes at Louisiana Tech, you're always going to get the $7,500, annual tuition for full-time. So yeah, I think that if you were able to do a part-time working from Pakistan, that would definitely be the way to be the most affordable.
That's actually a great opportunity, actually.
Yeah.
For 7,000, you're getting an MBA. That's for 1 year. So 14,000 total, right?
Yeah, just about. Yeah. And basically, if you're doing a part-time, so you're not taking a full-time course load, that amount of money is just going to stretch over, however long it takes you to take it.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right. So this is a good question. Could you please provide information how grad applications are evaluated at Louisiana Tech University? Do non-academic aspects contribute to the evaluation?
Yeah. So we are a tech school. So for us, we're looking at scores, numbers, things like that. That said, for grad school, they're really wanting 3 letters of recommendation, and they're wanting a statement of purpose, right? And that statement of purpose is where you can really put in any sort of additional things like that. And we have found that those students that have really good work experience, a lot of students are nervous about having taken a gap year, but sometimes those gap years can give you really really valuable experiences from our standpoint. For instance, one of our professors makes the concrete for NASA, right? And so, the rocket, for the launch, you're talking about a massive impact on that concrete for that pad, and so it has to be incredibly solid and dense. So he makes that, and so there was a student, I want to say maybe from India, I'm not really sure. He was doing construction during his gap year, and he wanted to come in and do I think construction technology, something like that. And I was like, hey, I think and he wasn't thinking that he wanted to maybe highlight his gap year. I told him, you really want to show that because you've got a skill that that might be valuable to a professor. And sure enough, the professor that does make the concrete for NASA ended up hiring him as an assistant, and they worked together. And so that was a great benefit by sharing your work experience in that personal statement. But I mean, we're not looking for a holistic admission process in a traditional sense. Like, we're not really maybe going to give a lot of thought to your extracurricular activities or things like that. But if you put it in that statement of purpose, it will be considered.
Makes sense. All right. Do you have any assistantships to offer for grad students?
Yeah. So most of our graduate students in COES are on an assistantship. We call it a master special. And so what that means is tuition will drop from say $12,500. I think that maybe it's 12,000. I can't remember. I think 12,000. Yeah. So from $12,000 to $7,500. So that is an assistantship that we can give fairly regularly. And what it will require is maybe you to work a few hours a quarter, right? And then I think you get maybe $900 a year or something in stipend. You're not going to get rich doing that by any means, but it is ultimately a way to put $100 in your pocket a month and a way to reduce the amount of tuition that you would pay. Now, if you are able to get onto some grant funded research, that's where it becomes incredibly attractive. So we do a lot of grant funded research. And so one thing when we write grants, we can actually put in the grant that I need to fund this many students who will work on this project with me, and I would need their tuition to be paid and all that. So in those assistantships, it gets much more attractive. And in PhD, their assistantships are very different, and that is something that would need to be discussed with the department. Now, most assistantships are centrally awarded. So that means I apply to it, and it's going to go into the main admissions office for the college. The college is going to look at it, and then someone in that graduate office is going to say, hey, this looks like something you might be interested in. And that person would share it with the professor. Professor can look it over, say, yeah, I'll take this person. And then great. And then that assistantship is awarded. A lot of students think they need to be, calling up every professor, sending, dear sir or madam emails, and that's really not the way to go about getting assistantships. I will say that if you're not offered an assistantship centrally, and you would know because it would happen pretty close to your admission, the next step is to go to Google Scholar, right, and to get a name of the faculty in our college or program that you're looking at. Go to Google Scholar, start reading some of their work, different faculty members, and if you find someone who kind of resonates with you, send an email. But that email cannot say, "Dear sir or madam, please give me money." That doesn't work. Instead, you should be like a fanboy email. You want to send an email that says, "Oh, did I just get disconnected, or is everything okay?"
No, everything's okay. I just wanted to put the final slide on.
Sure. And so what you really want to do is you want to send like a fanboy email where you're like, wow, I'm really enjoying your research. I'm going to actually apply to Louisiana Tech because I want to work with you. I want to study underneath you. Not mentioning the money side. What you're trying to do is you're trying to build a rapport with this professor, show interest in their work. And everyone likes hearing about themselves, right? So you email this person, you start complimenting their work, they're going to take an interest in you. And that might turn into something, maybe not immediately, but down the road where, if you continue to build that relationship with them, that they'll really want to retain you.
Awesome. All right, we're cutting it close to 5. We just have 5 minutes left. All right. Do you have any application fee waivers?
Not for graduate school. Grad school is $40, and that application fee goes towards a paying assistantship. So if 20 people pay their application fee and only one person gets admitted, that one person needs to say thank you to the other 19 because that money goes to them. And so the graduate students seem to really get that they need to pay the assistantship and why. Undergrads, if they shoot me a WhatsApp message and explain, or if they send me and say, hey, I was in this EducationUSA advising session, then, I'll probably say, hey, thanks for attending, and I'll be happy to waive it as an undergrad.
Makes sense.
But,
do you guys
they have to mention the code word Amon.
Awesome. All right. Do you guys have a health informatics master's program by any chance?
We do. We have an undergrad and a master's program. Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay. So that answers that person's question. And data science
So
graduate program?
for us, our data science falls under computer science. We have a program on big data. And so that's a concentration in computer science. So and that's an undergraduate concentration. So a student can come in, do a concentration that's going to almost be like a minor, where it's like you take all your computer science classes, but then you're going to take a chunk of extra computer science classes that are going to really help you build some core skill that you want. And big data is certainly one of them. Some of our concentrations in computer science are game design, the Internet of Things, cloud computing, cyber engineering, yeah, a number of things.
Is there a cutoff, like a CGPA cutoff point for the master's program in computer science?
I tell people if you have 3.0, you should apply. If you don't have a 3.0, but it's not going to really break you to apply, I would go ahead and do it. But I know that I think that if you had a 2.25, they publish it that it will be for conditional admissions. I don't see that a lot. But if you have a really good statement of purpose or something like that, maybe it's really worth trying. But yeah, 225 is the lowest I've ever seen them go.
Okay, perfect. And can students by any chance transfer their grad credits from Pakistan?
Transfer out, like meaning like transfer to another university or transfer in?
Transfer in.
Yeah, I believe that should be fine. They would just look at the courses you have and see what they can do. Now, the other thing you need to think about is the accreditation. So our university has a number of really attractive accreditations. And so you'd want to make sure that the accreditations match the transfer out school and the transfer in school, wherever you're going, if it's Louisiana Tech or anywhere, because if it doesn't match, then they're not going to accept those classes. Like I wouldn't accept classes from a university with a lesser accreditation than ours, because no, that we can't say that their courses are equal to ours. We work hard for those accreditations.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And there's no age restrictions as to what the person's age would be to apply for the master's or even the PhD program?
So I'm how old am I? I'm like I guess I'm 48. Yeah, I'm 48 years old. I just finished a master's program here recently. There was no issue at all. Lifelong learning is a beautiful thing. So don't give it a second thought.
All right, perfect. All right, I think this brings all our questions answered. A lot of the questions that are still open are questions that were answered and the other questions essentially. I think this brings us to an end. Thank you so much, Jay, for telling us about your university. To our listeners, thank you for joining us. You have our email address here. Jay earlier shared his email address. We will also have a recording of the video on our Facebook page. You guys can go there and review the entire hour-long video. If you want to register for our free services, you can go on the website on the screen, educationusa.pk/register, and an advisor will be assigned to you who can guide you to which university you should be applying to. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Jay. Earlier he had his WhatsApp number up on the screen as well as email. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for your time, Jay. Really appreciate it.
I will say I answer WhatsApps a little faster than emails. So yeah.
Oh, there you go. That's like the opposite of me.
Good for you, my friend.
Yeah.
All right, Iman. Take care. I hope to see you in what? August, I guess, right?
Yeah,
August,
sure. See you then.
Take care.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.